Jesus, where I grew up 3 miles outside Tubbercurry in County Sligo, the rule was, shut up. Don't be letting on. Don't be telling people your business. Yes, particularly if it was good news. Do you want people knowing you won that medal in the Cayley dancing? Do you want them thinking that you think you're great? Do you remember? Back then, when somebody said, aren't you great? They didn't mean, aren't you great? They meant, aren't you right, old gobshite?
I like that it's so wild and peaceful, and I like that I feel part of it. I know I grew up working on the bog and in the hayfield, and I know this place in my heart, and I know the way people talk, and I understand how they communicate. It's more negotiation and feeling maybe you don't have a lot of power, but you're always just shifting around what is kind of non-committally working out what is the situation, what do you mean, what's the best thing, keep all your options open. It's an old-fashioned thing. I think it's gone now, but I would understand it, because I'm a bit like that myself, and it comes from here. It comes from where I grew up.
Albert Einstein himself had lived 3 miles outside Tubbercurry in County Sligo, and he discovered relativity. He wouldn't have told anybody.
I always wanted to be an entertainer, and I remember once it was one of my first times on stage. There was a concert in the local parish hall, and it was actually the adults doing the concert, and I was sitting in the audience going, I have to get up there, I have to do something. So I just went round to the room that was backstage, and I went, can I do a song? I didn't even think, what would I do? I just thought, I'm going to get up, because I was always singing, but the only full song I knew was Ave Maria. The bells of the Angelus are calling to pray, in sweet tones announcing the sacred Ave, Ave. I got up and sang that. I always remember standing on that stage, and they had a light bulb with a bit of tin behind it to give the light reflecting on the stage, and they just had ordinary household curtains, long household curtains as the curtains for the concert, and those curtains parted, and then there was the whole parish squashed in the room, and I sang that song. And I remember afterwards my mother went, would you not learn the proper song?
Nobody's looking at you, nobody's giving you the second glance, nobody's fantasizing about what's under your big elasticated pants. Life's perfectly alright with me, but I do find it an irony, 'cause I never felt so hot.
This show began during lockdown. I was trying to write a new comedy show about midlife. I knew there was a great meaty show in there, but it was going off in every direction, and I couldn't find a centre. And it was you who walked into my office one day and wrote on the whiteboard how to get the menopause and enjoy it. I was resistant to that idea for a long time, even though I started researching it. It took me a few months to really commit to it, and then it was such a great thing. I think creatively, it's that old creative thing of when you give yourself tighter parameters, it helps the creativity. When everything's loose, go in any direction. Through researching it, I really found out how little I knew about menopause. I didn't know anything about, I knew, okay, your periods stop and you might have the odd hot flush, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know the hormones involved and how the depletion of those hormones end up affecting everything in your body. And in the process of researching the show, I went on HRT, and not just it wasn't just symptom relief. It was for long-term health.
Lifelong hormone deficiency. Will you stop exaggerating? Isn't it just a natural part of life? How the hell did women manage in the past? Well, they died younger. And even if they didn't, think of the lives of our foremothers. Think of the lives the average Irish woman had years and years ago. She was dropping a baby a year. She was having 10 or 20 children. Jesus Christ, by the time menopause came along, it probably felt like a holiday. So,
there's one big symptom I had that really worried me, and I joke about, going for all these scans and nothing showing up, but I did. I genuinely thought that I had a brain tumour because I had such bad vertigo. And that is a menopausal symptom, and I didn't know that. And it's amazing to see women in the, as I talk about that in the show, to see women in the audience nodding and going, oh, and going through the same shock as me and going, oh yeah, I've got that.
I've been nearly falling over. It was like there was an earthquake. I got the most awful vertigo. Anybody else? Yeah, did you know that is completely a menopausal symptom? As when your estrogen is draining away, it falls and it comes back and it falls and comes back. That can affect your balance. It can literally affect your inner ear. I didn't know that. I remember times in the street, I'd be standing there, literally leaning against the wall, having to hold onto the wall like this. I remember going to myself, Jesus, this is more than the 10 gin and tonics I just had.
Women are going, yes, sister. They're going, yes, you're saying my experience.
Very funny, very free-swag, and totally gets the menopause. I'm really, really lucky. I'm a 52-year-old woman. I'm on my HRT journey for the last 5 years, but I know people who are not. And I just think anybody who's even thinking about HRT needs to see this show.
Knowing you're not alone and laughing about it and having so many women laugh about what we're going through, I mean, that just kind of says it all.
It's an interesting time for our generation of women, because I guess we were used to, every generation is used to being the bee's knees, and I think our generation had it quite good in all sorts of ways culturally, and so we're not prepared to be sidelined. I think perhaps generations before, women were sidelined as they got older, or they went into menopause, and it just wasn't talked about. It was good night, we're not interested in you, you're old. And that's not happening anymore, and my generation of women just won't accept that. I frame it in this idea of menopause as reverse puberty, and then so I go back to the experience of my generation going through puberty, and when we would have got our first periods and things we were told or not told, and the sanitary products that were available in the 70s, and the attitude to tampons and everything. And I talk about all that, and I often think, God, if I was a man, I'd be interested in hearing all this stuff. It's the secret life of women, and that was always in the back of my mind. And then I did.
See, men aren't even interested in the secret life of men. We don't want to know.
That is so interesting, because if a man did a show called The Secret Life of Men, I'd be.
No one would turn up.
I would be there.
The place would still be full of women.
Look at Marco and Pat and Mystery Man in the corner. And look, I just want to say, the menopause is a very inclusive condition. You don't have to get it to suffer from it.
When it lands and you hear that laughter, oh my God. And then there's certain points in the show that I love. I love the whole scene where I go to the doctor and I'm talking about my symptoms and his response, and then I'm talking about being on antidepressants. I love that whole piece of material. It really makes me laugh. So I love going through that.
Why do you like it?
It's very true and funny and original, I think, and I love the way it lands with the audience.
I said, I've no motivation. I've no concentration. I am aching from head to toe. And I smell like a tomcat. And he said, Anne, I'm sorry to hear that. But we don't have a cure for being a middle-aged lady. But he said, I can offer you some antidepressants. And I said, will they help? And he said, no. but you won't give a shit.
I just always think it's about love and bringing everybody together, and the exchange of the energy is love, and just really honouring that people have made the effort to come out and paid and given this evening. I think when people go to the trouble of coming to see it and given that space and their attention, you better be amazing to deserve it. Oh, look, a rainbow. That bodes well. I sing through all my songs to warm up. I like a long warm up and a long being in the space and getting into the energy of the space. And I do every show as if it's my first show.
How important is your makeup application to your preparation?
It's very important. It's because I've been doing this for so long, so many years with the lulas and everything. It's a somatic or holistic body thing about getting ready. It's just body and mind united under the eyeliner. I wasn't making a penny, and at a certain point I thought, now I have to figure out how I'm going to make money with this, and comedy seemed the obvious thing. I absolutely love comedy and I love writing, and it was a brilliant combination of wanting to perform and writing and being funny. It's just my favourite thing, is being on stage. I just love it. I love being on stage. I love live work. I mean, it's not a job, it's a vocation. And to be able to make people laugh is absolutely brilliant. And in everything that I did, I just began to find serious drama a bit silly. The leopard print started going into overdrive when I found this in Greece, and I thought, oh, that would go with this. Would that be too matchy? And then I got these in Luxembourg, and I thought, the look is just so over the top, while somehow not being totally parody. Is there some level of, yeah, you could wear that. Not to the level of farce. The look to begin with was just leather pants and boots and a big shirt, because I'm self-conscious of my belly, and I thought, well, the big shirt will do till I lose the weight, and then we'll look at more radical things. But of course the weight never gets lost, so the big shirt look remains, and then we work from there. I like to look like I've made some effort, People have made an effort to come out. I've made an effort to be stepping on the stage. It is really satisfying to write something from the heart and to have it land so well with an audience. I feel really, really privileged to be at this position in my life. I'm exactly where I always wanted to be when I started out, but it's taken me a very long time to get here, and I've done lots of things that were really satisfying and successful, but this is the most satisfying thing that I've ever done, and it kind of brings together everything that I ever wanted to do. So I'm just delighted with myself.
Oh